take a look at Oracle's Primavera cloud tool, or OPC. And our focus today is going to be on portfolio management. We do have just a couple of housekeeping items just to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Nitin, do you mind? Yeah, they're perfect. Please do just make sure your microphone's muted, your video is switched off for the presentation. Questions, please just ask these in the meeting chat tool. We'll look to answer these at the end, or perhaps email those answers depending on how long we've got left. And of course, we will be asking for some feedback from you too. So please do let us know how you found the session, so we can keep improving for next time. A quick introduction to your presenter today. So this is going to be our very own Nitin Tiwari. So Nitin is one of our Primavera experts here at Hyde Park Solutions. He's accredited across all the Primavera systems, has extensive experience in P6, Unifier, OPC and AConnect, amongst more. That's all from me really. I'll hand you over to Nitin to talk you through the tool in a little more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Christian. So, welcome everyone to the first session. And as Christian mentioned, our primary focus will be on portfolio management and how we manage it using Primavera Cloud. And you can see this screen which talks about the objectives. So we will talk about how to create a portfolio, propose projects, manage costs, and then finally track performance. So, you can see here, this is pretty standard that you have to define strategies and evaluation metrics at the organization, department, or business unit level. Then create projects and then add those projects into portfolio based on certain criteria. And then do the budget planning, resource planning, create scenarios, do your what-if analysis, and then analyze, and then basically monitor the performance. So this slide, is just to emphasize that our main focus will be portfolio management. So the main objective is to do the right projects. We will not talk about program and project, but the slide is just to show you how they overlap in terms of hierarchy. All right, so this is the stepwise representation of what we will do inside Primavera Cloud, from defining strategies to defining evaluation categories, creating portfolios, propose projects and budgets, then define fund sources, do budget and resource planning, analyze, approve the plan, and monitor performance. And moving forward, we will break them down, and I'll switch between the presentation and the application to demonstrate most of the things. So let's begin by talking about strategies and evaluation matrix. So at the workspace level, so as I said that you can define strategies and evaluation matrix at the department, at the organization, or the business unit level. So that's what we call workspace inside Primavera Cloud, and then create portfolios. So let me jump into the application and show you the sample data which I have created for the sake of this demonstration. So this is the object selector. So this is the landing page, what you see here. And then this is the object selector. And you can see you have projects, portfolios, programs, workspaces, ideas. So the basic principle is you create workspace and rest of the things are part of that particular workspace. So you can define multiple workspaces, and each workspace can, you can define individual projects, portfolios, programs, ideas for that particular workspace. So for the sake of demonstration, I have created data inside OPC campaign workspace. So this is the workspace. And you can define your strategies. This is the strategic alignment app at the workspace level. So you can go to strategy list. And here you can define your departmental or enterprise. You can define the strategies. And later I've also assigned these strategies at the project level, which gets rolled up to the workspace. So because of that, you see this information here. There are projects, there are measures which we will use later. I'll show you to track the performance of the portfolio. So basically here you can just click on add and define your strategies. And then talking about the evaluation matrix, you can go to summary and settings. And under summary and settings, you can go to dictionary. You can see evaluation categories. So the benefit of identifying or adding these evaluation categories at the workspace level is that you can use these evaluation categories to rank your or to prioritize your ideas, proposals, projects. So since this is at the topmost level, the workspace, the information from workspace flows into the rest of the modules. So you can define these evaluation categories over here. And this is workspace. And along with this, we will use, I've created a portfolio, which is Roadways Proposal List 2021. And we will use this portfolio for our, planning and rest of the things which we will do as a part of flow today. So going back to the presentation, so we have seen you can create your strategies, you can define your evaluation matrix at the workspace level, and then create portfolio inside the workspace, which is basically your department, organization, or BU level. Okay, now moving on, we have set up things at the organization level. We have created a portfolio. Next is we can create projects. Now in Primavera Cloud, there are multiple ways in which you can create projects. It can originate from an idea. Idea can transform into proposal. Proposal, once approved, can become a project. Or you can import projects, or you can add projects as a user. So here we will start with a proposal. So basically, when you create a proposal, that is when you are initiating a business case, you will assign this business case to a particular department, and then you will add additional information. And then finally, you will review the business case at the department level. So the flow that we are going to use is out of the box. And this is a part of governance process which can be adjusted, and you can create workflows and new forms to cater to your governance process. But here what we will see is out of the box capability of the application. So let's begin with initiating the business case. So to create a business case, we will go to projects and click on view all projects. So you can see here on the left hand side, you can see the workspace. So you can choose a particular workspace under which you want to create. So you want to create the proposal or the project. So we will select OPC campaign because we are working in this particular workspace today. So there are a lot of projects, there are a few projects here already. So to add a proposal or to initiate a business case, just click on add, click on proposal. So this is a predefined form. You can You can enter a name of a proposal. I'll just enter a random name. Let's say NH12 construction. It's a National Highway 12 construction. And I'll just enter the same in the description. So here you're just initiating the business case, nothing much. You are choosing the workspace which it belongs to, and you will click on Add Project Proposal. So once you do that, it triggers out of the box workflow. And you can see there are a lot of notifications. If you click on this, go to View All in Box. You can find a lot of information here. So what I usually do is I just filter it based on the project or proposal I'm working on. So you can see a lot of information here. This is the task on which we have to perform action. But what I'll do is just to show you, so here you can filter. So you will only see the tasks related to the project that you have selected. In this case, we are working for NH12, so I'll just add it. So here now we know that, okay, we are working on this particular request. Click on it, just say review. So we are still in the process of initiating the request. So here we will just select the department. Let's say it is part of road and infrastructure. We'll select the department, click on submit. Okay, so now you can just click on refresh. You can see that there is another task which is here. But before that, let's go to the project. We will go to the project to see if it is created. So I'll just duplicate this tab. Click on Object Selector, go to View All Projects. And here, go to the workspace I'm working in, which is OPC campaign. And so this is the project, right? Which is this. So you can have multiple portfolios inside the workspace. So in that case, what you can usually do is you can assign a code. So in this case, I will assign a code. Let's say project type. And the code is, this is roads. So the purpose of assigning code is you can later set a filter criteria for your portfolio so that it can pick up the right projects as a means inside that particular portfolio. Save it. So we have assigned the code to this particular proposal. Now let's close it and go back to this workflow task. Click on review. So if I just go back to the presentation, we have initiated the business case successfully. Now we are in the process of adding a business case information. So we will add additional information. So this is the form, and we are still working at the department level. So there are things, so we have to score this particular proposal at the department level. So there is inbuilt logic in the form. So you can choose the cost of this project is fully funded. You can choose, these are the options. You can have multiple options. So politics do not appear to be in flux, or so directly supports. You can say directly supports. So these values will generate a score. The score will be in terms of not a numeric value, but here in this case, the way it is configured is it will say high strategic, low strategic, or medium strategic fit. So that's what you will see, and then you can provide a justification, right? For example, will help commuters to commute. Proposed solution is built NH12. Maybe you can elaborate on it from where to where. Proposed benefits will create job opportunities. So you can update this, then you can enter the estimated cost. Let's say I'll just add 1 million. You can propose the estimated benefit. So right now I'll just fill in the same. You can choose the duration. Let's say it's going to take 5 years. You can enter the proposal confidence rating, high. So basically these are the fields which can be configured, you can add additional fields based on your process. So once you have added this information at the department level, you can click on submit. So you have added additional information. And when you refresh it, there is another task in continuation. What is the next task? Is to review the business case. So to review the business case, we again click on review. Okay, so as a part of review, basically we have to say rank at department level, right? So the first thing which we can do is, so you can see here the proposal strategic score is calculated at the department level. Another thing which you can do is we should check whether this is reflecting under the portfolio, because we added a project code there. So if if I go to object selector and go back to portfolios, view all portfolios. And since I'm working under OPC campaign, so there are 3 portfolios under OPC campaign. And so you can check if your project is listed here. Right now it's not listed. Let me show you the filter criteria. So the filter criteria is project type equals roads. So it will automatically pick up. So in this case, we just have to go ahead and click the refresh button. And you can see here, NH12 construction is listed under roadways proposal list portfolio. Now we can click on this portfolio. And to compare this proposal with existing projects and proposal, we will go to the scorecard page. So at the portfolio level, you have this particular project. You can see its a strategic fit. You can proposal estimated benefit. You can compare it with other proposals and projects. So you can check a lot of information here before you make the decision. So you can come to portfolio analysis, scorecard. And these are measure tiles which are for monitoring performance, and I'll come to this later. So going back to the task, let's say that everything looks good at the department level. I'll go ahead and click on approve and click submit. So if I go back, so we have completed proposed projects. So we initiated the business case, added information, and then reviewed the business case. The next is to plan the cost. So if I go back, click refresh. Now there are 2 tasks here. If I click on the first task, the form goes to PM, the project manager. The second goes to portfolio manager. Since I'm playing the dual role here, right? So I'll take you step by step and show you how we will review each task. So first, let's pick up this task and click on review. So as a project manager, at this step, what you can do is you can define, or you can create your initial schedule. So we will not get into creating schedule because that is time consuming, and I'm sure all of you know how to do that. And as a part of schedule creation, you can assign role as a part of initial schedule. And in Primavera Cloud, there's a feature with using which you can generate role demand, and that role demand, the resources which are part of role demand will roll up at the portfolio level, which will help you do your resource analysis. So I have set up some sample data for that to save time. So this you can just mark completed. But since we are primarily focusing on portfolio, the second thing which we have to do is we have to set up the cash flow, the initial cost for this particular proposal. So let me show you how we can do that. So here, if you go to this particular app called Cost and Funds, there is this option called Cash Flow. And here you can basically select project start year and the month and the project duration in years or month. So I will leave it standard right now. So 5 years, click on Get Started. And then you can see here, you can enter the initial cost. Okay, so let's say is 345. This is the capital expense, and then you can also enter the expense, let's say 4. Okay, you can use predefined curves to, let's say I'll use a bell curve. So it automatically, divides based on the curve that you have selected and the weightage the curve is assigned to. Similarly, you can also apply the curve for, okay. And then for the forecast, we will use the same plan budget. So you can copy plan budget to forecast. It will copy the information to your forecast. And that is basically it at this level. The rest of the information will populate later once there are actuals. And we have a portfolio approved budget as a part of approved scenario. Click on save. So this is done. So let's go back to the task. So as I said, we'll assume that we have completed this, and this is also completed. You can see the forecast value here, right? The variance is same as the forecast right now because we don't have anything here under a portfolio proposed budget. So we will submit this, close it. So the project manager has done his work. Now the next task is for the portfolio manager. We'll click on review. Okay, so you can see here, it says strategic alignment completed, strategic priority. So there is some logic which is built into the form, but we have to align this particular proposal to organizational strategy and also assign evaluation categories for the sake of prioritization. So let's see how you can do that. If I go back to the presentation, the plan cost is completed. We have now moved to aligning projects, evaluating projects, and then approving and rejecting the business case. So here, let's go to this particular app, click on strategy list. You can assign strategy. Let's say I'll assign strategy called minimize regulatory cost. You can choose the percentage alignment. Let's say it aligns 80%. When I click on save, it generates an alignment score. Similarly, I can select evaluation matrix for prioritization. Here, you can select multiple options or the ones which are applicable. So for now, I'll just leave it at that. Click on save. So we have completed the alignment and the prioritization. Let's go back to the task. Okay, so we can say this is completed. Risk level, if you have done some risk analysis, Primavera Cloud provides you Monte Carlo risk analysis, which you can use for initial risk analysis. Right now, I'll leave it as low. And prioritization completed. You can see the evaluation score, and then you can click on submit the task. So now we have completed alignment and evaluation of the projects. So it's now time to approve or reject the business case. So I'll select this task. So in this case, let's say we go ahead. So all the information is in place based on the things that we have done so far. Let's go ahead and say approve. So once you approve, you can click on submit. So that means the business case is now approved. And you will notice that if I go back to the projects, view all projects, and we are in OPC campaign workspace. So if you see here, this NH12, which was a proposal earlier, now is a planned project. Okay. So now this project is ready for budget and resource planning. So let's go back to the slide. So now we will quickly see, I have set up some sample data in order to save time. So you can add fund sources at the portfolio level. So let me show you that quickly. So go to portfolios. This is the portfolio in which we are working, roadways proposal list 2021. And under cost and funds, you have fund sources. You can define fund sources here. Which I have already defined. You can define many sources. You can also add allocation rules. If you don't add any allocation rules, then the source is available for all the projects inside this portfolio. So the next step is to specify planning period. So this planning period is to specify the planning horizon. So to do that, you will again go to portfolios, view all portfolios, select your portfolio, and then you can click on budget planning. So here is where you define your planning horizon. You can choose planning horizon number of years. You can choose how many of them in months, in quarters, and in years. So you can define that here. In this case, it's already defined. So once you have done that, you can create scenarios, set and distribute target budget. So let's go back to, so we are on the portfolio page, and let's click on budget planning. So on this page, you can see there are portfolios which are already created. I have created these just to save time, but to create a new portfolio, to create a new scenario is fairly simple. Just click on add, and based on a particular project attribute, you can create a scenario. You can see a few examples in the background based on score, based on risk. So you can choose on what basis you want to create a particular scenario. So the next thing is, once you have done that, you can assign a target budget, which is, if you take this example, you can see the target budget is this 5 million. And if you're wondering why you don't see your, why we don't see the NH12 here, you can just refresh it. You can see it here now. Right, so the target budget is defined. The next is to link and propose project budget. So in this case, if you see here, we have the forecast, which is the planned budget, right? And if let's say you're not okay with it, the planner is not okay, or and wants to collaborate with the project manager, he can add another, he can add a different amount here, and then he can link it. Once you link it, that becomes the proposed budget for this particular planned project. So you can see here in this case, it's linked, and these two projects are actually active, right? So that's how. So for example, if I link, that means I'm okay with this. So I can just click on link. You can see now it's linked, save. So that's how you propose a budget. And if you are not okay, you can unlink it. You can add another amount here. So that's part of link and propose, and then resource planning. So let me just show you, along with the budget planning, you can also create scenarios if you have created resource demand. So if you go over here under resources in the portfolio, go to resource planning. So here again, you can, if there are projects to which you have added resources, so there are a few projects which I have created as a part of sample data, you can see roles added to it. And you see these highlighted because I've highlighted the deficits. If there are deficits, if you uncheck this, you will not see the deficits. If you want to see the deficit, you can click on this. And then you also have full-time equivalent. So it shows you the number of hours, but if you want to see the number of resources and you want to make adjustments, you can click on full-time equivalent, which will show you. And if you select a particular let's say role, you can see what is the demand and what is the deficit, and then maybe you can move the dates around, or maybe you can reduce the number of hours in order to do your resource planning. So that's about resource planning, and you can have different scenarios for resource as well, just like budget planning. So moving on to the next slide. Now optimize the portfolio. So Primavera Cloud provides a lot of inbuilt tools which can aid you to make the right project selection. But end of the day, it's your decision, the organization decision, but you can use these tools and techniques. So here, optimize the portfolio. You can use this, which is Efficient Frontier, and you can add constraints. You can add constraints based on which it will show you. If I maximize this, it will show you, it will optimize your scenario and will show you the best selection of projects. You can click on apply optimization and click on recommendations. So if you do that, it will recommend what is the best selection. And then it's up to you if you want to go ahead with this, you want to apply it to the current scenario, create a new scenario. You can do a lot with this, but as I said, the decision lies with the organization if they want to go ahead with these projects or not. The next technique is use waterline analysis. So if I close this and say cancel, you can see here where my cursor is, you can click on waterline view. So here you can just simply click on this edit. You can select your criteria. So right now the criteria is proposed budget is less than 4 million. So based on that, it shows you the projects which qualify and not. You can also push out or push in projects. So it will honor your, so for example, if you click in force in or force out, so even if a particular doesn't qualify for the criteria, and if you force in, it will still be selected. And the same applies to force out. And then select projects. So finally, what you can do is you can select projects. So you can click on actions. You can say include all, included, highlighted. So you can select the projects and you can include it. And once you have done that, you can approve. You can compare scenarios. So comparing scenarios is another option. So if you click here, there is an option called scenario comparison. And what we are comparing is you can compare budget scenarios versus resource scenarios. So what you see here is right now, everything is visible. You can choose budget scenarios, and the way to identify is you can see this icon, resource, and here you can see this icon, budget scenario. So you can compare between budget scenarios. So it will only show you budget or resource or all, right? And what you are comparing, basically you are comparing, the target budget, the proposed budget, the forecast, plan, allocation, role. So you can add a lot of columns here just by clicking on columns based on what you want to make the selection. So you can compare the scenarios, and then you can review the plan. So to review the plan, you can go back to the budget planning page. And on the budget planning page, if you click on the drop down, you have option send for review. You can send it for review. You can propose, you can send for approval, and then it will get approved. So this works based on the approvers that you have assigned. Just to quickly show you, if I click on settings, go to security, edit roles. So right now you can see here reviewer, approver, owner. So in this case it's me, but you can assign different people for different roles. So this is how the out of the box functionality works. It also allows you to choose a custom workflow. So right now we are using out of the box workflow, but you can choose custom workflows if you want to manage this process slightly different. I mean, send it to different people. So that's how. So once it is approved, it will. So you can see here in this case, I have an approved scenario, and these two projects are approved. The budget review status is accepted. So that's how you will approve the scenario. And if you click on comments, it will also show you what happened from where, what is the history as a part of sending it for review, proposing it, and approving it. So you can discuss on different steps. So moving on to the next is about monitoring the performance. So you can create measures. You can create measures at the workspace level and monitor the budget plan. So to monitor the budget plan, you can monitor the budget plan at the portfolio level. So one place is you can go to the scorecard, which we have already seen. So at the scorecard, you can see proposal estimated cost, strategic alignment cost, evaluation score, right? You can see that information here. You can see these measure tiles. And if you click on a particular tile, if you want to see what's the logic behind, if you want to see the measure definition. So this says that the target is current approved budget and the actual is current approved budget. And it shows the information, and as this progresses, there will be information for the rest of the periods, which is blank right now. So this is one option. There is an option for investor map. So this is the investor map. So right now the criteria is the evaluation score, the bubble color is based on risk, and the size is again based on evaluation score, and y-axis is road strategic fit. So it shows which projects are high strategic fit, medium, low. It also shows if you hover over it, it will give you information the risk level is very high, what's the evaluation score, all that information. So you can use this to get the best proposals in your portfolio. And you have another option called prioritization matrix. If you want to see the prioritization matrix for all the projects inside a portfolio, you can see it here. And here is our NH12 construction project. And so this is monitoring at the portfolio level. If I go one step up, which is the workspace, I'll go to OPC campaign, which is the workspace. So here you can see here at the workspace, I have 3 portfolios, and these are the measures, and you can see information here at the workspace level, the rolled up information from the portfolio. So this is how you can go to portfolio analysis, summary, scorecard, and see the information. And again, if you go to a strategic scorecard, you can see information related to the strategy alignment. And let's say I select minimize regulatory cost. These are the projects which are aligned to this particular strategy, and you can review it. The information from the project rolls up to this level, and you can make adjustment here to make further changes to the percentage alignment and a few other things. So this is about monitoring the budget plan, and then finally view spending data. So to view spending data, we will go back to the portfolio and click on spending. So basically, once the projects are approved and there are actuals in place, here you can see the spending data, and you can closely look at data that belongs to a particular period. So if I click on 2021 and I want to see information for September 1 to 30th period, I'll just click on this, and here you can see, I can see that the portfolio approved budget is less than the actual, and that's the reason I have flagged it as red. That means that I would have to go ahead and request for additional funds, right, or create a scenario to revise the budget. So you can flag it wherever necessary, where you see any discrepancy. So I'll close this. So you can click on revise budget plan. So this will automatically create a scenario. I've already created a scenario for this demo, so I'll show that to you. So once you click on that, so this is the scenario which is created. Now, if you want to move out this, force out, you can just force out this project, because we just want to request additional funds for this particular project. So you can just come here and you can propose, additional funds, and then you can again link it, send this particular scenario for review. And if it gets approved, you will be allocated that additional fund. So this is how you can monitor and also monitor your spending. Finally, so that completes the demonstration. Just few key takeaways is you can define custom forms and workflows to enable the governance process. And the following tools will help you analyze the right projects in budget planning. You can use Waterline analysis, selection analysis, optimization, efficient frontier, scenario comparison. And you can use most of them in the resource planning as well. And then you can build in custom approval process to approve the plan for a portfolio. And then finally, to monitor performance, you can use scorecard, investor maps, and spending. So that basically brings us to the end of this session. I mean, we have exceeded the time limit by, I think, 15 minutes. So sorry about that. So if we have any questions, or if you have questions, you have shared that in the chat, we will collate it and write it back to you, whichever works best.
Thank you, Nitin. Thanks for the presentation. And yeah, thank you everyone again for joining. Yeah, apologies again that we've run over slightly, but yeah, we will get back to your questions via email.